Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Not a Linux Guru Guy channel. Coming at you, this Rick Koppel coming at you from Denver, Colorado. And today we're going to take a look at Manjaro, the only Arch-based Linux distro in our list of new users. We're continuing with our new user Linux review series with Manjaro. And we'll get to that on the other side of the intro. Yeah, Manjaro. We're going to take a look at that in a minute, but first I wanted to talk about new users in general first. Start off this video cast, whatever you call it, podcast, video cast, whatever. Something like that anyway. Wanted to talk a little bit about what new users are. Because that's something I failed to do at the beginning of the series, so I thought I'd jump in and throw it out now. Because there's a wide variety of new users. New users are going to have different requirements. I mean, some new users are going to be already technically savvy, already know a command line, won't have any problem using the terminal, that kind of thing. Yeah, so some new users are going to be like those also who've never touched the terminal or done everything in GUI and Windows, because that's pretty much how it's set up. And Apple's the same way pretty much. You can't get a terminal on Apple, but yeah, Windows hardly even got rid of the command line for a lot of time. Now you can get back to it more, but yeah. So not too many Windows users are going to know how to use a terminal or that kind of thing, or how command lines even work. Presuming the blank screen was a blinking cursor, they scratch it and go, what do I do now? Yeah. Of course, most of the people who have installed Linux on their computers are going to be at least somewhat not too scared of being that, especially to watch videos like this. I think I can do that, so they go and they take an ISO off the thing and put it on a stick and install it on a computer, and then they pop up the desktop. But it's still going to be tending to be GUI people. You know, a lot of Windows users are going to be GUI. Now I was kind of opposite, because I worked in Windows for a long time. I started off in DOS prompt, and so I was used to command. Matter of fact, I put off getting in Windows at all until about 93 or 92 or 93, somewhere in there. And so yeah, I didn't want to give my DOS prompt. I knew that like the back of my hand. Didn't want to mess that. But anyway, so the point is there's going to be different levels of new users, different entry points, different qualifications. Those who are willing to learn, those who just want to get in and do something quick and easy. Most people who install a system on the computer, however, are going to want to get it done pretty easy, Today we're looking at an OS that some people say is good for new users from the Arch repositories. Now, Arch has some basic advantages in its repositories and its installation and its AUR. And there's a lot of software out there you can get installed. And I actually demonstrate that a little bit today, even though it's on the negative side of things. So we'll see what you got. Manjaro. And we'll look at it now. But first we'll go to the website and see how easy it is to navigate that. Okay, so now we're at the Manjaro website, and you can go features, donate, shop, news, more, right there. You can also learn more here, or you can just go straight to download Manjaro and try it out. What we're going to do here. Now they have a lot of different versions. Of course, we downloaded the flagship version, the XFCE version of Manjaro, and I also take this moment to let you know I'm trying out some different way of doing this. I'm installing this on my other computer so we can check out things as they would on a real computer instead of a virtual environment. If I show you the installer, it's actually a virtual installer because you have to do that in order to see it. Because if you, first off, if you install it on your computer, you can't watch it at the same time. On a VM, you can, but after that, I'll switch over to the actual computer where I installed it on, so you can see what the situation is there and how easy or hard it is to do things. Alrighty, I find that's better, especially for printers. The gnome boxes, for some reason, doesn't really want to work with printers that well, as you'll soon discover. Anyway, yeah, so you got XFCE version here, and you got KDE version. Probably when I download off here if I wasn't sticking strictly to the flagship versions. And you got a GNOME version, which is one I probably wouldn't download if I had a choice. And Architect. Now Architect's very interesting. I did download and use this one time, in that it's a net type installer, and it uses a command line, but it also has a as it says here, a TUI installer, textual text user interface installer. So it's like you got 1, 2, 3 type things, and yeah, anyway, you can go through it and you set up what your desktop user environment you want on it. So you install a base system on this, and then you work your way up and install whatever you want on it, you know, or other graphical drivers and desktop environments and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I did that one time. It was pretty good. I installed it. Now they also have community versions. If you're looking for other, just use the menu in the top toolbar. And you type, oh, up there. There you go. Editions. So you got the official, you got the community, you got the ARM, and development. So community, you got awesome, BSPWM window manager, awesome and BSPWM are window managers, Bungie, Cinnamon, i3, which is another window manager, LXDE and LXQT, Mate, and OpenBox, which is also a window manager. And so it's pretty cool. You got all those versions you can do. That's your community versions. ARM, you got all these Pinebook Pros, Raspberries, Rock, BIMs, and Edges, and whatever that last one is, Odroid, Into. Just another desktop environment, latest development. I'm going to show you on this is that is the installer. I'm not going to show you the whole installation process like I've done on the other ones, and because it was super easy. Went through it step by step, boom, 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 out of the box, installed real easy on my computer. So I'm not going to show you that. So I'm going to go straight to the computer and check it out. And now we're looking at my Manjaro screen on our other laptop. This is what it looks like out of the box. And it's nice, pretty overall. It's had its own quality. But you have several desktops you can choose from, but that's not what we're here for. So we're going to get right to the thing. So let's see. Yeah, we got to see what programs are installed. I've installed some programs on here already. I had to get things cooking for it. But I can tell you what those are. Now that was installed out of the box. All the games, Steam, it had Steam installed out of the box. Amazing, huh? Graphics. And I installed Inkscape and Krita here. But the rest of it, I think, yeah, all the rest of it was installed box, including GUIness image manipulator program. So That was all installed out of the box on this. This is the FCE desktop and internet. It came with these browsers, and the Firefox was installed. XChat was installed, I think. I don't think it installed anything on here, so it's all out of the box installation in the internet section here. Now you notice it does have Firefox Thunderbird, so it checks off our email web browser clients. Uses Sundar File Manager, so it checks off that. And it's also music player, which is multimedia down here section. Yeah, it's got a lot of stuff. I installed Celluloid and Katana. Audacious is a music player that came with it. And media player, I think it has VLC on it. Yeah, down there. See VLC down here. So I installed Celluloid. So, and of course there'll be a studio I installed too. So yeah, so all that was out of the box. So it gets perfect in on the download programs. And program availability, well, I don't have to tell most people the program availability of any Arch distribution can be pretty big, simply because you have the whole, not only you have Arch repositories that you can access stuff from, you have the whole AUR, which is user repositories. You can make build stuff things through there automatically, so kind of nice. Actually, that's how I got my printer working on here, which of course means it's not going to get that high score for printer, but yeah. So program availability would be a perfect 10 on this one too. A printer was a different thing. I did get it set up, but I had to do some terminal to get it to work correctly. And I had to install Yay, and then when Yay didn't work, I had to install another program, and I finally got that working. And then I was able to search the AUR and find the drivers and install those through Yay. And then once I had all that going, then I was able to add the printer to my system here. Yeah, when I first went on here in printer, yeah, and I see this stuff when I first typed in printer, none of this stuff showed up at all. But the reason I had to do that was to get the cups server working. Now the only way I know to get cups server working is to do system control, sudo system control, and so I went and checked the status of that. Saw it was inactive. The cups was installed, but it was inactive, so I started the system daemon going. Then I enabled it so it'd be any future reboots, it would show up still, it connect. Then once I did that, then the printer settings came up, but only the web interface, which means it didn't have the program installed for the printer management. You could do it through the web, but anyway, I installed that program and got that cooking. Then I had to install the drivers from the AUR, which is easier to do than trying to find the wrappers and find the print driver and all that stuff myself. So I had the print driver, but I didn't have a wrapper that easy, so I think I was able to do that, but I was able to install it through the AUR. That was cool. But yeah, most new users aren't going to be all that savvy on all that stuff. Where they're just going to go printers. They're going to print search like this. Go, I don't see any printers. Oh no, what am I going to do? So yeah. So anyway, that's the downside of that. It wasn't easy to get the printer set up on here. I was really hoping that Manjaro would be better than other Arch distributions on that, because it is touted as a more user-friendly, and it is more user-friendly than installing Arch through the command line, obviously, and it sets up things, and it does work as a system. I mean, it just works pretty much so far as I've been able to tell. And yeah, so anyway, printer that's probably going to be at least 5, maybe. or lower, who knows, but yeah. At least have cup set up and cooking when you start it up. I don't know why it doesn't do that. Why it installs cups but it doesn't get it cooking on there. Okay, so keyboard setups. Now that's another issue. Yeah, keyboard. That's what keyboard, right? Okay. There, keyboard settings, application shortcuts. The application being the keyword there again. Means you have your shortcuts down here, window manager 2. You can find that. Yeah, right down there, window manager. Seems to be a XFCE thing because last version we had that same situation where they were divided up into window manager shortcuts and keyboard shortcuts. And I think, if I remember correctly, the application shortcut worked, but I don't know if I even tried these yet. Let's see what you got. They have the same theme settings they had on the other one, except for different themes probably for your window manager. Anyway, yeah, it says shortcuts. So yeah, let's try one. Move window to right workspace. Shift Control Alt right. Boy, let's put us a lot of keys over there. Shift Control Alt right. Let's see if it works. Shift Control Alt right. Hey, seemed to work. I seem to have something else over here too in the second space or something. Yeah, the thing is I don't see any spots that tells you what space it's in. You need to be switching back and forth between the two things when you right, left. It just goes back and forth between those two workspaces down there. And so that part seemed to work on this one at least. Yeah, I don't know if there's some problem with the XFCE menu on the previous installment of MX Linux, but there's a couple of things that didn't work. And one of them was the shortcut keys here on the window manager. Yeah, it's weird, but this one I was able just through the program, the power manager, to blank the screen out, and it stayed going the whole time. The screen's never blinked since I did that. Whereas on MX Linux, I had to, after I did that and it didn't work, I had to install not install, but I had to put a file with set some variables and stuff like that in order for it not to blank out the screen. So that wasn't very user friendly for MX Linux on that part. But anyway, we're not grading on that part, so I'm going to go on. Themes and wallpapers. Now, I found out something yesterday as I was working and I stumbled across it. So I was looking for themes, and when I was just type theme in here, I just got all this stuff, and I didn't look at it. And I found out kind of by accident that the theme manager for this is called GUIness Manager. GUIness, yes. And if you lose, yeah, I didn't notice it because it goes off the in there. But yeah, if you put over there, it says the simple GUI for installing, selecting, manipulating GUIness themes. So that's a theme manager, GUIness. So I'm probably going to give them a little mark down on that because that's kind of, unless you know that as a user, you're not going to notice it's about theming. I didn't. I'm an experienced user, so yeah. Anyway, if you go here, yeah, you got a theme folder. Yeah, it's not as easy as some of the other themes. Let's see. Many themes, but external themes can also be installed for being used by it. Here you could choose a theme folder and then press the button below to install it in your home. Okay. Interesting. Then you got change, delete themes, figure active themes, and application themes. Okay, I'd have to investigate this and figure out how to use it. Not intuitive in that regard, I don't think. Install this theme. Select a commit theme folder, and I don't know what folder to select for that. I have no idea what. I have to investigate, find out how you use this thing. So yeah, it gets poor marks for that part of it. 1 for having a non-standard theme name, and 2 for having a non-intuitive theme install and update themes. So that's the theme section. Just kind of stumbled across the fact that was there, and oh, there's the theme manager. Yeah. And wallpapers, well, usually you can just right click on the menu and select desktop settings. Wallpapers usually runs right at the beginning. That it? Oh, here it comes. Oh no. Yeah, so you got several wallpapers. Got that one, which is, I'm not sure what that is, but it's just designs, I guess. Got all sorts of interesting designs. And you got cityscape. You got several wallpapers to select from here. Balloons. As well as several versions, motifs on the original Manjaro wallpaper, default wallpaper. And Manhattan skyline. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is. Manjaro dog. Okie dokie, that's interesting. Not sure I wanted that on my wallpaper, but yeah. That's interesting. What's this? Little turtle in a bottle. Well, they do have a lot of wallpapers here. We'll grant that. So on the wallpapers, they get a perfect 5. On the themes, about 3, I guess. So about 8 altogether. That section. And yeah, it looks pretty cool actually. I like that. I don't know if I'd stick with it, but I like it. So that's the theming and updating. Updating pretty easy on this. You go down here, you have, I've already updated the system before, so it's not going to be extensive. I do it now. Click on this down here, it checks for updates. It says, oh, we got 1 update left. Here, it's got upgrade on it. You click apply. Fairly intuitive. You enter your password. And then it updates it. You can unpackage databases. Checking their complex. Upgrading Manjaro system. Transaction successfully finished. System is up to date. That's it. Pretty easy. And yeah. And it's got the PAMAC installer. If you want to install your I can find it. I think it's called Admiral Software is what it's called on the screen is PAMAC installer. And everything that's already installed, pre-installed, as you can see, you have remove over there. If it's not installed, then it'll say install. You can search by going up here and clicking on this. And you can search things like you see GUIness. There it is. Yeah, if we want to install that there, we install it right there. So pretty cool, pretty standard. It's out of date a little bit. It's a dated look to it. It's not as modern as some of the other installers, but it looks pretty good overall, and it works. So that's what's important, really, right? And so Manjaro's does good on that. And the easy menu to activating programs is pretty easy. It's got the whisker menu by XFCE. You can pretty much search and find most programs on there within reason. So yeah, gets a good 10 on that. Anyway, so let's go over and check out what we have on the spreadsheet. Okay, we're back and we're checking out our Manjaro score sheet here. Now I want to make a correction. I changed some on a couple of things on elementary because I wanted to be fair to it, so I reinstalled it on this computer and I checked the printer setup, which it did beautifully on that. Actually came up and it printed out of the test page without any problems. So I changed that over to a 10. And I also updated the ease of installation because it installed real easy on my computer over here. Elementary OS, it gets good for that, and it's up to 87. I think it was 80, 84, 82 or something like that before. And so it's up to 87, so it's like the second highest in the list right now. Manjaro, the website navigation was great, so it's 10. Ease of installation, it installed without any problems. 10. It was pretty nice. The guided tour, it didn't have as good of a guided tour as MX Linux or the other two, but it had some there. I think the main thing I thought it lacked was an updating function to guide you through that, to guide new users through that function. But the updating on it is pretty easy to do when you find out this little button down here in the bottom right, like Linux Mint here. System is up to date, and it updates pretty easy. So, but it didn't have the update in there, so I kind of took off a point for that or so. And it was kind of minimal and not all that great, so yeah, that's why it gets 7. Lowest one of the few so far. Okay, on the software part of it did perfectly good. It had good software. It had Firefox, web browser, email client. I think it was Geary, if I remember right. No, Thunderbird. Geary's on the next one. File manager was Thundar, since XSCE. It's a good bright one. Word processor, yep, they had LibreOffice on it. And media players, and they had both of those on there too. So it had a full suite of Office, and you can pretty much work out of the box on it without any too much trouble. Now the program availability, that of course gets a 10, being it's a Arch-based system, so you got all the Arch repositories, including the AUR, that you can easily find and get pretty much anything your heart desires from there. If Linux has it, it's there usually. Okay, now the printer was the one that I downgraded from. Even though I had installed it on a computer, I had to go into a terminal and start just like I've had to do for almost every other Arch-based system. I was hoping this would be being as built as a new user, be a little easier to get the printer cooking on it, but not really. The only thing I didn't have to do was install cups. It had cups on it, but I had to go start the daemon for it. And I had to install the software to access it, the printer. Then I had to go in and install the printer too. And I had to install the print drivers from the AUR, which I was able to find my print driver from the AUR without too much trouble and install it. So that part was good, but so I had to use had to get Yay installed in order to access AUR easier. And then I had to install another program in order for EA to work good. So yeah, downside to that. So anyway, it was a little bit of a long process. I had to use terminal quite a bit in order to get it done, but I got it the printer cooking. But yeah, it gets 3 because it was not a very user-friendly process. So yeah, if you just know if you install a Arch distro, you're probably not going to have printer working out of the box. Just count on it. If you do, then that's like wow. Okay. Keyboard shortcut setups. Now keyboards on this was not too bad. I mean, you had all your keyboards in one place, unlike Linux, MX Linux did. But it wasn't quite as good as Cinnamon. And I also might add that the because it's XFCE, the reason it gets better marked than Linux MX Linux's XFCE was that it worked. Excuse me. The Windows, as you saw on the previous section, the window manager worked, whereas in MX Linux it did not. Now they both have separate spots for their same desktop environment, but so that's why it's not quite as high as Linux Mint, which has not only all in one spot, but they also have up to three shortcuts you can put for each item. If you want 3 shortcuts, you have 3 shortcuts. So then themes and wallpaper. Now this was interesting in that it had bunches of wallpaper. It had some theming. But the theming manager, as I found out and discovered, was kind of odd. It was labeled odd. I didn't catch it in MX Linux. So he had a themer there, but because his name something that wasn't normal themes. Didn't say themes on it or something like that. And the way XFCE does menus, it was the description that it was a theme manager was hidden in the right side of the where it goes off of the menu section there. So I didn't know there was a theming manager in here. So I found it quite by accident on Manjaro, and so I put both those to 8s. Kind of corresponding, but the downside is probably should be lower than 8. But downside is the theming manager is kind of cryptic. Yeah, I wasn't able to just use it right off the bat. I'd have to sit there and figure it out, and I didn't want to take up y'all's time doing that, so I didn't mess with that too much. But it had plenty of wallpapers, though. Yeah, a lot of wallpapers. Pretty good. So anyway, then the updating was easy, as I mentioned before, and the menus and programs were good too. So it comes out to 85 for new users, which right now is our lowest one, thanks to printer installation issues, and which to me is somewhat critical. I mean, yeah, a new user can learn how to do that kind of thing. And I understand the whole concept of Arch being that it's keep it simple, stupid type thing. But yeah, printers, almost everybody needs a printer. Some people don't, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people coming over from Windows, or new users, are going to expect to be able to have their printer work pretty easily or install it pretty easy. And yeah, if you had to go to a terminal right off the bat to get things done on it, that's not good for new users coming from Windows usually. So yeah, so if you are the kind of new user that's willing to learn and take some time to learn something like that, yeah, you can get it done with some Google searches and figuring it out and stuff like that. But if you're not used to Linux at all, it's going to be a tough road to hoe in that regard. So yeah, you got problems with that. So, but otherwise, if you can get past that point, or you don't need a printer on your system, just have a little laptop you want to install, print PDFs and things like that occasionally, then you got it made. Yeah, I mean, you probably still have to activate the cup server, and I may do a video on that. I think I've done it before, but I need to probably do how to activate Arch Linux print service. I've done enough now that I probably can tell you how to do it pretty easy. Matter of fact, I may just set up a little script for it or something that people can download. It might be an easier thing to do for that part of it. Anyway, there you go. That's Manjaro's situation. It's 85 out of 100. And you see all these are pretty high. The only one up in the 90s is Linux Mint, which has a lot of advantages that a lot of them don't. But yeah, elementary gets a 10 from 5 to 10 on the printer there because it installed right away and without trouble. It printed out first time straight. The test page printed out the first time straight off the bat. So kudos for that. I don't know now not to install these things. I'm going to do this way. I want to do the rest. I'm going to install it first on my computer over here and test it out and grade it based on that. Then I'm going to come back here and do this part. So yeah, let's go back and chat a bit. So we're back and we're going to chat a bit here for a moment about Manjaro, Arch-based systems. Now the great thing about Arch-based systems is they do have a lot of programs you can access. There's also other features which I just saw DT, who's a big advocate of Arch, list out on his channel about that. You want to go check that out probably. And I'll try and put that in the description if I can re-find the video. So, but yeah, it's a Arch-based system, and I kind of like Arch. But I've tried it several times. I guess the difficulty in getting printers going and stuff like that, and I get frustrated with it sometimes. But there's a lot of big community out there, and usually Google search you can find out what you need to know on that kind of thing, and research it. Easy. And next time we're going to look at Pop! OS. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to, if you like what I'm doing here, hit subscribe down below. I get my fingers in the right spot down below. Hit subscribe down there. And hit the notification bell too, because I don't have a schedule. I just post these when I get them done and put them out. So you want to keep track of when I plan with new stuff. You want to hit the notification bell so you get an email notification when I put out a new video. And you can also hit like if you like this, or hit hate if you hate it, whatever, down thumb or whatever. So it's up to you. And anyway, with that said, we'll see you next time, and may the Linux force be with you. Bye.